Hi guys, we are talking about Raid Renown in 11.1 and you. Let's get right into it. There's a big wall of text here. I'm going to give you the TLDR summary of it. So, Blizzard liked the Nurubar Finery buff in Nurubar Palace, but it has some flaws and they believe they can do better. Introducing the Raid Renown system. This is an experiment, and if it goes well, they'll probably continue down this path, and if not, they may change it or scrap it entirely. This Renown system is earned exclusively through raiding, full stop. So, the Renown system of the Gallagio raid is called the Gallagio Loyalty Rewards Club. It is a 20-step system, which means that if starting the raid from week 1, it will take 19 weeks to hit Renown 20, because the system only allows for 1 Renown progress per week, full stop, and at the end of week 1, you will be Renown 2, assuming you got enough rep. We will talk about obtaining the rep in just a moment. At this current pacing, it will take us about 5 months of raiding every single week to hit Renown 20, and there is a catch-up system. It is not finalized, and more on that again momentarily. So their goals for the raid Renown system are as follows. They want to supplement the storytelling and setting of the raid to improve immersion and flavor. They want to easily communicate and telegraph what your efforts will yield over time. Improve the moment-to-moment experience of raiding, notably between encounters or during breaks, and be accessible and forgiving for players who miss weeks of raiding or start midway through season. And we'll touch on that a little bit as we continue on. So, the rep cadence, they said, is subject to change, and of course, the rep is warbound. It can be attained by any character on any difficulty. So the Renown system will be obtained from 2 specific sources. Excuse me, the Renown. You will kill raid bosses for rep, and you will kill lieutenant enemies. Lieutenant enemies will be included within some trash packs, making the rep very accessible. A total of 5,000 rep is obtainable in the raid from a completely full clear. However, each Renown level is only 2,500 rep, 2,500. The intent for this is to allow for groups and guilds to be more flexible and allow for skipping bosses without having to, let's say, go back or feel like you're missing out on your weekly Renown, as well as ensuring that struggling groups can stay caught up. Bosses 1 through 6 will reward 450 rep each. Boss 7 rewards 600, and Gallywix will reward 1,000. All of the lieutenants will reward 100 each. Again, the catch-up system will have a sliding scale depending on how far the player is, similar to Nurubar Palace. It is still a work in progress, subject to change. The Renown system will remain a part of the Gallagio raid far into the future to ensure that players coming back to farm it for transmogs and for the rep rewards, the Renown rewards, will still have access to it. It will also be rewarded at an accelerated rate at that point. Okay, so let's quickly go through the Renown rewards, and these are also subject to change. So again, we'll quickly go through this. So at Renown 1, profession table vendors and crafting order specialists will be available for use at the Incontinental Hotel. You should have this at week 1. I think maybe you only need to step into the raid to unlock this. To be honest, I don't know that for sure. But by the end of week 1, if you've done some raiding, you will be Renown 2. So in Renown 2, you're going to be able to consume food 100% faster within the raid, and you will also have access to a busted rune dispenser in the in Continental, which has a chance to grant an augment rune. So if you like selling your augment runes, you're probably going to want to shell those, get rid of those things really rapidly, because the price is definitely going to be dropping at maybe sometime after week 1. We'll see. So Renown 3, transmog and item upgrade vendors will be available inside the hotel. At Renown 4, you will gain access to your Gallagio Loyalty Rewards card. It's basically an extra Hearthstone to the Incontinental Hotel. Super nice. Additionally, you're going to get a 3% damage and healing increase inside the raid. The rewards card Hearthstone has a 30-minute cooldown. It is only usable while inside Liberation of Undermine. Oh, interesting. That's unfortunate. I was hoping it would take you from anywhere to the Incontinental, but it is what it is. Maybe they'll change that. That'd be really cool. Renown 5, you will gain access to repair stations throughout the raid. Similar to what you see in Mythic Plus, it will remove your sated buff, which is great because that means more bloodlusts, more fun. These are not intended to replace the value of engineering hammers and will be placed sparsely in the outdoor areas of the raid. We'll see how that goes, right? Renown 6, gain a 10% move speed buff inside of the raid while out of combat, and you will have a self-battle res while out of combat. I don't know why they call it that, just a self-res. But the self-res, they said they're tuning it. They're looking at saying maybe it's going to be a 30-minute to 1 hour cooldown. It says aimed at being an emergency wipe recovery tool. I think that's mostly probably for Race the World first, but the race might be over at that point because Renown 6 is like week 5 of raiding, so like a month and some change in. So Renown 7, damage and healing buff improves to 6%. Looks like there's a little typo here. Renown 8, you will unlock your first raid skip after defeating the first boss. The NPC will fly in with a rocket, and you can skip between bosses 7 and 8. Oh, interesting. Renown 9, 2 vendors outside the Cauldron of Carnage. One of the raid's earlier bosses will sell you miniaturized battle pets. Looks like the gorilla and the mechasaur from that boss encounter. Renown 10, more damage and healing buffs up to 9%. Renown 11, out of combat speed improves to 20%. You are now granted 1 counterfeit dealer's chip, which can be traded at the hotel for cosmetic appearances. They said this is going to be similar to Dragonflight Season 4 vendors. The vendor will have multiple colors of weapons, etc. Renown 12, a goblin inside the raid will provide you with Hot Sauce, a fire-breathing damage proc that scales in effectiveness based on your raid consumables. That's very interesting how that's actually going to work. Think Dragon Breath Chili from Classic WoW. I think it was Classic WoW, right? Renown 13, damage and healing buff up to 12%. Renown 14, the busted rune dispenser from Renown Track 2 is fixed and always grants an augment rune and has a chance to reward you more. Or explode, apparently. Like I said, those augment runes are definitely going to tank in Season 2. That's a good and bad thing, right? So, Renown 15, gain a second counterfeit dealer's chip for more cosmetic rewards. And the 6th boss of the raid now has a small chance of dropping one as a personal loot on future kills. Very cool. Again, that's the 6th boss, the one-armed bandit. Renown 16, damage and healing buff improves to 15%. Renown 17, receive a puzzling cartel chip which can be traded for a weapon, trinket, or otherwise special item from the Liberation of Undermine. So they said this is going to be similar to Season 4 Bouillons and Shadowlands Season 4's Dinar. They are intended to have their own upgrade track, which means they will scale to the maximum rank of 14 given enough crests and Valor Stones. They said possibly this will change, but the intent is for them to be fully upgradable by anyone that reaches that point. Renown 18. Out of combat movement speed increased to 30%, and an auctioneer will be available within the hotel. Cool. Sounds cool. Renown 19. Receive a final puzzling cartel chip. Damage and healing buff increased to 18%, which is the maximum. And Renown 20. Everyone will obtain the title High Roller. They'll receive a teleport to the raid entrance, usable from anywhere. And they will obtain the robot Mechasaur mount that everybody is participating in this raid for. So that's all I've got for you. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was timely and concise. I tried to keep it concise. Please like, follow, subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.